Okay, ladies and gentlemen, knock knock. We're gonna get going. It's getting started. We're already running late. So I want to thank you all for coming out to our event. To who are we? What are we doing? Unfortunately, I'm sorry that we don't have any visitors that came out to see who we are, but we're going to go ahead and continue on with this as it is. We're going to skip all the formalities with the Pledge of Allegiance and the prayer just so we can keep moving on. Okay. I was elected to the presidency of the Women's Republican Party in 2024. I thought, how am I going to navigate a presidency when I was a sideline member for many years?
That's what we needed.
The way that this party has been succeeding, is being very successful, is because I have the leaders here who have been part of the party. They are my support group. I count on them. If I need something, I'm asking. I appreciate their support that they have given me and this group for the last couple of years. So thanks, ladies. I really appreciate what you've been doing for us. So today we have Cindi Holland, who is speaking, going to give us some of her experience of how she's been working with parties and moving on with her life since she's left the Federation. She is now the Michigan chapter president of the Veterans for America's First. She's a great gal. We appreciate that she made the trip out here to help us do our event today. Cindi?
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the applause and thank you all for coming out. So one of the things that I wanted to start with, which I had a conversation about that as we were preparing for the event, is whether you guys were going to fill out paperwork to become precinct delegates. But I understand there's a rift going on here in the county, so don't fear, because I will tell you that most of my political activism has happened outside of the Republican Party. And I've had a lot of success working outside of the Republican Party. You have a lot more leeway, a lot more freedom, and a lot less pressure from leaders to do things the way they want you to do it. So working outside of the party is a great way to get move the needle in the right direction. And groups like this is very important in that effort. So so I appreciate everything that you guys are doing. There's a lot of things that you can do to help grow your club. And one of those ways is personal interaction with the public. And I always, when I first started doing these kinds of things, I actually made flyers. So whatever the issue, the topic of the issue was at that time, I would write up something. I would refer to sources, not articles from news agencies, but actual sources. And I would add them into that letter. And then I would go door to door and I would knock for the candidate that I was supporting at that time. And I would hand them that literature so that would help educate them on what was actually happening. And hopefully to encourage those people to also stop listening to the mainstream media and go directly to the sources, because a lot of times you will find the mainstream media will give you little tiny nuggets of truth and a whole lot of opinion. And that's the ideal of that, is to shape the opinions and sway public opinion. And a lot of times you'll find that if you go to the source, that actually says something much different than what that news article had said. So I encourage you guys to maybe, you don't have to go door knocking. If you can get a list, go to the yellow pages, you can get a list of people in your district and get their addresses. You can write letters and mail them through the mail. It's not illegal to do that. But you do have to put down at the bottom a disclosure that who you are, so that they know it's not an elected official who are sending those letters out, because that would be illegal for them to do. If you're just doing it as an informed, concerned citizen, that's how you would sign that letter. And that would let them know that you're just a neighbor or somebody else in the public, a general voter just like they are, and these are your concerns. That's one way of helping to grow your club, because you could also list your club in those letters. You can make flyers, mail them out the same way, or you could even door knock if you have the ability to door knock, because that is actually more effective, because that personal interaction means a lot to people, especially when you're talking about politics. They are getting sick and tired of, the narratives, and people say this and people say that, and there's no personal interaction. They feel like it's just, they're just being talked to, not talked with. And people want to have their input. They want to be heard too. So when you have those personal interactions, you have more chance of getting that person on your side. So, and when I say on your side, I don't mean your side between you and, like, the other thing that's important about these groups, as I have always stated before, with I don't have a problem with different groups popping up, because we're all working towards the same goal. And not everybody feels like they belong to, let's say, maybe Turning Point, because their demographics look a certain way. Maybe I don't fit into that group, so I need to find another group that I fit into. So having multiple different groups isn't a bad thing. It could be very good, because that's how you draw more people in, educate them on the issues, get them on point, and then you all work towards that same goal. And engagement is very, very important right now, because we are coming up on a midterm election, and most of the general public doesn't vote in midterm elections. And that's how we wind up getting a lot of the people who get elected that maybe we're not so happy with. So it's important, very, very important, that if we're going to continue the America First agenda, that we engage with the public and get those people involved, get them motivated to get out there and vote in this midterm election. And so I am the newly appointed president of the Michigan chapter of Veterans for America First. And so that's what I push personally, is the America First agenda. I focus more on issues rather than a party, although the Republican Party is more aligned with those values. So we tend to vote for Republicans because of that, but we don't necessarily have to say that we are Republicans. We look at those issues, and if you talk to people in the general public, they really don't care about the parties either. They are more concerned about what these issues are. So if you stay focused on the issues, you're going to bring more people in. And one of those issues that is very important is making sure that we are electing people who know and understand the U.S. Constitution, and that it is the law of the land. And anything that any legislature does or any ballot initiative does that is contrary to the U.S. Constitution should be null and void. Though you have to have people in positions of power that are going to push that. So it is important to elect people who actually know and understand the U.S. Constitution. Now, there are some people who have basic knowledge of the Constitution, which is fine, but then people like us need to go to that person if they're a good candidate and they have good intentions, they have basic knowledge of the Constitution. Sure, we can elect them, but we also have to go meet with those people, talk to them about the Constitution, and help further their education on the Constitution, so that if they are elected, they know what to do once they get there. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay, so basically, a lot of people have a misconception of what the America First agenda really is. People think that means we're going to be greedy, we're selfish, we're self-centered, we're not thinking about our neighbors in the country and in the world. And actually it's contrary to that. What that means is we have homeless people in this country, okay? And they need help. But instead of our legislators allocating money to help people here that are homeless, they're sending money overseas for things like LGBTQ agendas and pushing that agenda through child television like Sesame Street. So, and this is a true thing. You can look it up. It's verifiable. They have sent billions of dollars over to Iraq to fund Sesame Street to push LGBTQ agendas through the children. So when you think about that, what is most important? Is it most important to push LGBT knowledge in another country, or is it more important to say, hey, we got homeless people here who are freezing in the street right now. They need places to live. They need somewhere warm to stay. If they can't manage their own finances and live in their own homes, we need to develop housing for them, even if it's just temporary, so that they can learn how to do those things in the process. But that's what the America First agenda is about. If we take care of those people first, you have to take care of your own house before you can help somebody build their house. And that's the concept of America First agenda. Yes, we still help people in other countries when it's needed. If they have some catastrophic event like a tsunami that comes and wipes out their towns, we go there, we send money there, we help them rebuild. That's part of the America First agenda. But it doesn't, but the America First agenda means is if we have homeless people here, we need to be taking care of our people, then we take care of people elsewhere, and not force stuff like LGBTQ agenda.
Well, wouldn't that be, it's the difference between emotion and logic.
Correct.
If you're on a plane and something happens and the emergency breathers drop, you're supposed to put yours on first before you take care of your children, because you can't save your children if you're not alive.
Absolutely.
So the America First agenda is a lot the same way. It's with emotions, they get people to believe that we should take care of all these other people first. Well, then we don't survive. The America First agenda is just like being on that plane. If you're not strong and don't take care of your own first, there's absolutely no way that you can take care of anyone else.
Absolutely. Great analogy. Great analogy. I don't know if the camera picked that up. Did it pick that up?
Yes, I did.
Awesome. So I don't have to repeat it. But it's a great analogy. And that's what the America First agenda means, is that we have to take care of our own house first so that we have a strong foundation to help other people. It doesn't mean that we're selfish and self-centered and we don't care about people. It's actually the opposite. Yes?
Do you have statistics that we could tell you about how much of the United States budget goes overseas for those kind of charity things?
So you can go to, that's what Doge has exposed. So you can go on the government website, and actually I can share some of that with you. I'll need your email address before I leave. That way you have the information.
I just want like the total percentage of what the United States sends overseas that really should stay.
It's billions.
Oh, I know.
It's billions, and oh yeah, absolutely, it's billions. And when you look at, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's really irritating when we have this great big debt and then we're paying money to other countries.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's also part of the America First agenda. Is what Trump wants to do is not tax the American people and go back to the tariff system, which we used to have before. And Trump has dwindled down the debt by using those tariffs. Although he's receiving a lot of pushback, he has been winning those battles in court. So as long as we continue to win those battles, and because those arguments are constitutionally sound, that's why he's winning those battles.
I love it that he just sued the IRS for not protecting his tax returns.
Absolutely.
Is it 10 billion he sued him for?
10,
I think so.
10 million, yep. Yep, yes, absolutely.
So,
Did you have a
You can
question?
tell that my brain is spinning. I just, my mental focus is, we're trying to hold people accountable, and we can't because the judges are all corrupt. And if the judge, that's going to be my focus, is if we don't start putting people in there that are actually going to, I mean, we've been told over and over again that, we're going to do this to this person. I'm waiting for these people to be held accountable. And the few are getting let go, John Lemon recently, because the judges are letting them out. And so that's where my focus is, whether it be local or any other. We have to get judges in there that are actually willing to stand behind the Constitution and the law.
Absolutely.
And so it isn't necessarily the person going to, the Senate or the Congress. That's what's stopping
That
us.
is part of it.
90% of what's been tried to do, it's the judges that are coming in and acting like the president.
Absolutely, and that's a great point, which I wanted to touch on. So I'm glad you brought that up. Judges are nonpartisan, so the general voters really typically don't know who they're voting for. So
They just put the ones that are in there back in. Oh, okay,
they put
doing a good job.
and what Jocelyn Benson did in the last election cycle was made sure that the voters knew who those judges were by putting incumbent next to their name. So people think, oh yeah, they're already in there, I'm going to vote for them again. So it's important for clubs like this to help educate the general public by doing what I had said before. You send those letters out and you let people know which judges are with who and what. Look up their history. How have they ruled on these certain things? Then you send that out to the public and let them know that this is what these judges have been doing, and here's a judge that's running that will actually do the job, and give a name so they'll know who to vote for.
on the federal level with the federal judges, those are the inferior courts set up by Article 1 of the Constitution. Only Article 3 sets up the Supreme Court, which is the superior court. So all these inferior courts that are doing all this gamesmanship and all this absolute horse crap falls on the legislature, falls on Congress, falls on your representative and your senator. So that's where the pressure has to go on those people to get rid of those judges. The other thing is that we've allowed judges that are not American citizens to sit on those benches. And that is another huge problem in my book. But that involves you getting with your senators and your federal senators and federal congressmen, representatives, because they're the ones that pick the judges for the inferior courts.
And that goes back to my point about, yes. And that goes back to my point about how important those personal interactions are. They're also important for you to have those relationships with your elected officials. When you have those relationships, they are more impactful than the calls and the emails, although they do help because they need that to go to the table to fight for you. When a legislator walks into the session and they have to sit here and debate with the other people on the other side and they have nothing to back them up, they're less likely to be successful. But if they have a stack of emails and he can say, I have 500 emails right here from my constituency saying this is what they want me to do and that is how I'm voting. That gives them the strength, that gives them the backbone. When they know they have the support from the public, it's very, very important. So, and it's very important to maintain those relationships. And what I have found and what I've seen in the last 15 years is a lot of people get involved through the election process. They help get these candidates elected, and then they set them free, leave them to the wolves. You have to maintain those relationships because it's very hard for them to look you in the eye and say they voted against you if they have that relationship with you.
And also, there's been a lot of things going on here locally, and we're trying, a lot of us are trying to battle that.
Correct.
the state makes it very difficult to do so because they say the power is with the people because we have the power of the vote. It's not true because if somebody, say your local official wins a vote, ask somebody how easy it is to get them removed when they prove to be not doing what they said they were going to do when their agenda is completely different from what they campaigned on. You know how hard it is to get them out of there?
Oh, yeah.
If you have any kind of population in your township, we've got over 4,000. You got to get a very high percentage to do a recall. And then it's going to go back out on the ballot. You got to get people to come to a special election. They're already going to 3 more that year. They don't want to go vote again. And it's just near impossible. And there is methods that you can do it. You can report this, and if it's illegal activity, then they'll take it to the AG, and then the governor will remove them, right? No.
No, not this
They
governor.
will not.
Not this
It's
governor.
in there. It's in the law that they can, stay home.
And the reason why is because a lot of them are afraid to do anything because of the political backlash from the voters. Because
So they won't remove somebody that was duly elected by the public. Doesn't matter unless they show up drunk on the job all the time and you got proof.
That's why prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yes, I know, but it's still.
And we should mandate that they have to have debates and get out there and answer to the
It is,
questions.
but I think we also should get legislature that makes a more simple route when it is certain things.
that's what I was getting ready to tell you.
Because
The
a lot of
solution.
them can be, if it's not, okay, for instance, let me give you a for instance.
Okay.
Now, I have just been hired by the township to fix their books, okay? But it has taken me about 6 years to get here to where they were doing something, not even just putting me in, I mean anybody doing the job right, okay? And in part of that, at one point in time, our supervisor was working full-time for the fire department. And there is a strict, flat, easily readable, no ambiguity law that says if you are a supervisor of township, you can work, and you've got less than 40,000 people, you can work for your fire department if, and it says if, you are not a full-time firefighter, you are not the fire chief, and you do not negotiate the salaries on behalf of either party. Okay? It's real clear. He did all 3. And he kept saying, I'm not a firefighter, I'm a paramedic. Well, both state and federal law have it very clear that if you work in a municipal fire department that has emergency medical services, but you are certified as a firefighter and you do have responsibility to extinguish fires and do all the things that firefighters do, you are not categorized as an EMS. You are a firefighter. That's the category they put you under. Only if you're working some EMS company that does nothing but EMS can you claim you're a paramedic.
So
So he did that for years and got double pay because he was working, I can't remember, 80 hours or something like that. Tell me when he did the supervisor's job. He didn't.
yeah. So the solution to things like that is you want to move to the legislature for that. You need to advocate to the legislature. This is what the laws you want to change. Narrow the scope of those things. Like, for instance, the recalls. The recalls allow the person that you're trying to recall to have unlimited fundraising, which helps that candidate and that party. So that needs to be, in my opinion, I agree that law needs to be amended to remove that from the law. A recall.
The problem is right now they have it where either the AG or the county prosecutor, if you have something like I did, it's not like a criminal offense. They don't make them pay back what they did because they were actually working hard. They can't. So the only thing they can do is stop.
Right.
You cannot work any longer as a full-time.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't even do that because they consider it a waste of their time. That it's our money.
Well, here's the other way you go around doing that is you have to create a public outcry for it. Once you, and this goes back to the issues that I was talking about. This is an issue focused manner. So you would take that issue to the people in your community and create the public outcry. Once you have that, now the legislator is going to be more willing to go and fight because now you have given him the material he needed to go get that done.
Yeah, not in this county. They won't, seriously, because what they do is they put out letters saying, no, he's not in violation.
What township are you with? Somerset.
But if you write those letters, like I said, and you
I did.
and you print the law, take a screenshot and just put it right in there so that
And I
people
went
can
door to
see.
door. Not in this county.
Well, I mean, all you can do is try.
He fixed it now because he knew that I was serious because I was going to file a personal suit against him. So,
And that's the other way of getting things done is you file lawsuits.
he's changed it and he's working hard now. And he's actually doing what the supervisor should be doing and should have been doing for the 4 years before.
Well, and then you were successful because you got the job done.
But it was 6 years.
And you know what they say, the wheels of justice turn very slowly. And that is true. That is very true. Because there's a lot of red tape in that system. And you have to go through all of it. And you can't skip. You can't go from A to D. You have to go A, B, C, and D. There's a process, and you have to go through the entire process because if you try to skip and you go from A to D, you'll get to D, you'll get to talk to somebody, but then they're going to say, well, did you do this or did you do this? And you'll say no, and then they'll say, well, you got to go back and do it. So it's a
They
process.
make it that way so normal people don't have time to invest.
It is, but like I say, I would like more push for our state legislators to really look at the laws. I mean, one of our friends, that is in lawsuits right now over stuff from the 2020 election. She was clerk, and there are absolutely false charges that they brought her up on, and it is now to the point where it's going to trial. They got through umpteen gajillion, for show cause. How got through that? Judge, I won't even guess because it should have been
Activist judges.
But the director of the Bureau of Elections for the state was very pompous, very confident when, even though he was giving illegal directives, he quoted an administrative rule that wasn't even put into effect until 2025.
Exactly.
He still, and it is in conflict with both state and the federal constitution and laws. He said, you'll have to challenge me in court to get this listed as an unlawful rule and then get them to take it out from the Secretary of State's administrative rules. That's ridiculous that all of that is put on the people.
Yes.
And that kind of thing is what, well, I'm going to talk to Jonathan about it, but, Jonathan Lindsay, but we need more contact and support from them as well.
And that's where those personal relationships do come in. And they are, when you have those personal relationships, like I said, it's very difficult for them to come and explain to you why they voted against your interest or why they voted against the way you asked them to. So keeping those relationships intact is very, very important. It's very impactful. And that is a tool that you can use when things like this come up. And not just talking to Jonathan Lindsay, he's in the Senate, but you talk to other people in the House because that's where those things are going to start. So you get people in the Senate on you.
I know Jonathan, I don't know
Absolutely.
so I'm going to get Jonathan.
Absolutely.
To
I'm just making that clarification for the people who might be watching, so that they understand, that's how I have always done it. I talk to people in the Senate to get them on the same page as me, and I go to the House and get them on the same page so that when the House does something about it, the Senate is already aware of it and they're ready for it. And yes, absolutely.
Me?
No, the gal from North Adams.
Oh, yes.
She has Coleman now.
Yes. That she has the lawyer.
Oh, okay, awesome. And did you have a question? Okay. Did you have any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Anybody else? Okay, so is what if I have to ask you and you had to say there was only one thing that you could do right now, what is it that you would want to change in your district, in your county? What's the most important issue to you right now that you would want to change?
Change the sheriff.
Change it. So okay, so
Nothing's enforced.
so if you want to, that's also an elected office. So what you do is, like I said, you create that public outcry. Make a list of all the things that you have an issue with your sheriff, and you go looking for things that can back those your statements up. Like, I don't specifically know what your issues are with him, but let's just say he's not enforcing the traffic law where you have to come to a complete stop at a stop sign. Let's just use that as an example. So what you
Actually, that's the only thing he is doing.
so let's just say that's the issue. So what you would do then is you would go do the research and find out where you can find the statistics on how many tickets he's been giving out. And then you put that in there, and you just go down the list. You research and you find something to back up what your issue is. Make a list of all of those things and go door to door, knocking and give that stuff to people. And just talk to them briefly. Say, you're going to encounter people who may disagree with you. Say, I'm not asking you to agree with me today. All I'm asking you to do is take this literature, look it over, do your research, and if you find that all of this is true, I encourage you to vote for a new sheriff in the next election. And if you give them that,
I don't know if we have anyone running.
well, you got to find somebody to run. That's the other thing. You have to find the candidates who are willing to run, that are in alignment with your values, with the values of the community.
Like I said, I still have mine.
So I'm going to go back to what Charlie Kirk's mission was when he was here. His mission solely was to educate people in the general public and change the culture. That is actually where you start. That is the start of changing things from the bottom to the top.
Actually, that's from the top to the bottom. It's we the people.
Exactly, but
Federal government's the bottom.
they've flipped it around on us. So yes. And what I mean is from the people from the bottom of the ballot to the top of the ballot. So you change the thought process of people, and you're going to encounter people who have been taught to believe one way, and now you're coming along and you're trying to tell them something different, and they don't even know you. So you have to make that personal connection, and I do that with people individually. I'll walk up to people and I'll start a little conversation. I'll get some information about where they are on the issue, and then I will address it. Depending on their response, I find out what is important to that person, and then that's what I start talking about. That's the start of building that personal relationship. And also having to you got to be patient. You got to let them talk. You have to hear them too, and listen to what they're saying to you, and so that you know how to come back and counter what it is that they're talking about. Because 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to be right and they're probably going to be wrong. Why? Because they're listening to mainstream media and they're giving them a distorted view of what's actually happening. So now you're going to be faced with looking at people who have what they call cognitive dissonance. These are people who are stuck in their own belief system.
Would you call it cognitive what?
Dissidence.
Dissidence.
And so that's people who are just stuck in their own belief system and they can't look at anything outside of that. And the only way to penetrate that is with those very personal interactions and getting to know those people. But if you don't listen to them, they won't listen to you. They have to know that you are understanding their position, what they believe, and then ask them, just think about what I'm telling you. I'm not asking you to change your mind right now. Think about what I'm telling you. Do some research, and if you find that I'm right, please vote for this person, or please contact this person and ask this legislator to, do whatever it is that you're asking.
Along with that too is the absence of a no is the presence of a yes. So when there's an issue that's going on and everybody lets one person fight it and everybody stands back and silent about it, all you're doing is setting that person up to be destroyed, especially in this community. So when there's an issue, people have got to stop being afraid to stand up and put their name on that issue and say, I agree.
And here's another way you can combat that. And this is through a lot of activism type of stuff. So, and what I tell people all the time is not everybody wants to get up. Let's take school board issues, for example. Not everybody wants to go to these school boards and get up there and speak because they don't speak in front of crowds of people. They're not comfortable. So how do you let those people know on that board that this whole crowd of people actually agrees with me, even though they don't want to get up and speak? How do you do that? You say, I will speak. And when I go up to speak, if you are in agreement with me, you stand right where you're sitting. So that when I go up there and speak, I can say, everybody that's standing behind me is here because they believe in what I believe in, and they support what I'm telling you right now. So now they know there's 100 people behind you that are supporting you in the issue. That's how you get people involved. They'll come, they'll sit and listen. They're just afraid to talk.
I don't know, I've been to a lot of school board meetings and I was the only one there that wasn't heard about this person's getting put in. And I'm not even a parent of a school age kid. And I mean, for months, I was the only one there.
So when you're building up to those things, so you know there's an issue. You want to address this
I
issue.
just don't know if you can handle it locally because the state is controlling the local.
But and everything starts small. That's the other thing, don't give up just because you only got, look at the small group here. I drove 2 hours to come here. I called Teresa before I came yesterday and I said, how many tickets have you sold? I didn't realize it was a free event. She says it's a small crowd. I don't care if it's a small crowd. If there's 5 people sitting here and willing to listen and take my advice on how to get these things done, I'm going to come and talk to you, because 5 people can turn into 100 people real quick.
Understand though too, what Cindy's given us is general information. One size doesn't fit all. That's what they do in a centralized democracy. We're a republic. What you have to do is take that general information, look at your specific situation, and strategize using that general information for specific things that need to be done. That's something you've been very, very bad at.
Well,
Yes.
and the other thing is, just remember, I was told from the beginning, I don't know why you're bothering to do this. I don't know why you're bothering to look at all the records at every single meeting and to go back every single month and tell them what you found and do this, because it's not going to change anything. There's nothing you can do about it. Well, it did take 6 years, but I finally got a township that fixed the medical insurance that they were providing, because they were providing it at double the cost that was allowed by the state. I got them to start doing procedures for everything, including they didn't even have bylaws for the board and for the board meetings. I couldn't get them for all this time to use time clocks for the fire department. They're now in there with their time clock in there, and they're getting the firemen used to clocking in on this machine, and then it's going to go live. I couldn't get stuff changed on the bookkeeping, and now they actually put me in to make sure it gets done and that we have checks and balances. So you can get there even if you're one person, but then you need to go out and say, you know what? It's wouldn't have taken me 6 years if I'd have had some backing from y'all.
Correct.
You need to kind of start coming to these meetings and help.
Absolutely. And that's how you get the movement started, is you get out there, create those personal relationships, change the thinking, change the culture. That's how we change all of this.
And give credit where credit's due.
Absolutely.
The supervisor was doing something that he didn't believe was against the law. He didn't believe that it was in conflict, because I am a paramedic, would not, could not comprehend what the laws said, or could not understand what I was trying to say. And there were other people that were telling him, no, you're fine.
Mm-hmm. And if you are...
he changed though.
Absolutely.
And now he's working hard. He's there every day, and living for at least part of the day, and he's doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
You gotta give him credit for that, and not
absolutely.
him for what he did 6 years ago.
It's just like, it's so the other thing I always tell people is, don't just send emails when you're mad about something or you want to change something. When they did something good, let them know that you appreciate that, because that is called positive reinforcement. And that actually works very, very well in keeping people doing the right things. So email them, call them, and tell them when there's an issue that you want to have addressed. But also, when they do something good, call them and email them and tell them thank you. So, but that also goes back to that personal relationship. If you have a personal relationship with that legislator, naturally you're just going to do those things because you have that relationship. And I'm glad you didn't give up. Sometimes, listen, there's a lot of times throughout the whole political activism that we just weren't successful. But do we give up and walk away? What happens if we just give up and walk away? Nothing changes. If we can change one or two things out of 10, we've done something. We've made a change. We've started the process to head in the right direction. So don't get discouraged if things don't work out when you first initiate something. Keep at it, because and a lot of times they want you to walk away. If you walk away, it makes it easy for them. I tell everybody all the time, there was a moment when I started to walk away and give up after the 2020 election was stolen. I said, if they are capable of doing something like this, what difference are we making? It took me 2 weeks of praying and asking God for the guidance I needed to where am I supposed to go from here. I came back and I said, I'm not giving up, because if I walk away, I'm giving it to them. I'm letting them have it. And I'm not built like that. I can't do it. So here I am.
Well, and going off of that, the point being is, are we getting the cart before the horse? Trying to find a candidate that we would want to be in office is one thing. But if they get in there, they're not going to get in there if we don't do something about the way we're voting. So isn't that where we start?
That is where you start.
We have to start with
the issues.
Counting ballots by hand. That ain't going to happen. But if we, in essence, across the board, all the way through the federal government, that's the problem, is that we don't know if our vote counts at this point. And so what do you do with that? Because we can run circles around and talk to everybody and anybody, but when you put your vote in, you don't know if it's actually being counted. What's the point?
So what you have to do is, first you need to understand, yes, we need to address this issue with an elected official. Who is the elected official that is supposed to handle these things? So that's what you do. You look to see what legislator that is, and the elections. I typically don't like the whole federal getting involved in some things, but in some cases it's necessary. And this is one of them. Because if we don't get our elections in order, we don't have a country.
Right.
So this is one of those extreme situations where you would go to the federal level and say, we need you guys to step up so that these states will walk in line. And that's what they're working on right now. So it wouldn't be a bad idea for you guys to contact your congressman, and not just yours. You can contact other congressmen too, or women, congressmen, congresswoman, doesn't matter who it is. Anybody in Congress, you can call them, send the emails, and tell them this is what you want. Most of the time, when they, like I said, when they know that they have the support of the public to do it, they will. The reason why a lot of them get scared is because they're afraid of the political backlash. But if they know they have the support of the people, then it's not a problem anymore.
Oh, okay. I know it's the midterms this year. Is there a deadline for the candidates to have all their paperwork done?
It's yes.
Is that deadline passed yet?
No, it is not. It's either in April. I'm just thinking off the top of the head. It's either April or May. And it depends on the race too. You have to look that up on Michigan.gov. On the website, they have you click on the elections tab, and it will tell you when the filing paperwork is due in every election.
And will it also show who the candidates are?
That will not tell you who the candidates are. You have to go to a different part of the website to find those candidates. But that is listed on the Michigan.gov.
I was just thinking, I know that the MITOP have their delegates coming up for the delegate. We're going to be nominating all these representatives who's ever running in 2026. That doesn't happen.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, they're going to be, the state party is having a state convention. It's called an endorsement convention. And I don't know if you guys participated in the last endorsement convention that the state party held. So what they did was they got the delegates together because they wanted to do an endorsement convention to alleviate some of the division that happens when these candidates are running against each other. There's actually several different reasons why they wanted to do it, but anyways, they're repeating that again this year. So they're going to have the delegates go in, and they're going to all vote on which candidate is going to have the Republican Party endorsement. And then they'll come back in August, after the August primary, when the new delegates are elected, and some of them will be the same delegates, but some may be new delegates. They'll go back again to the state convention, and then they will submit those endorsements in that election and nominate them to be on the November ballot. So, if you want to have an impact on how those delegates vote at that state convention, find out who those delegates are. They're listed on your county clerk's website. Call them up. Their phone numbers are listed, and tell them, I live in this district. You are a Republican precinct delegate, and I want you to know I would like you to vote for such and such candidate for such and such election. And maybe you compel them to vote the way that you want. Any other questions? Anybody want to know anything personal about my life?
No, but you can find Cindi on Facebook, and y'all should be following her. She's bipartisan in her posts, and I think that's been effective for you. Yeah.
I'm strictly,
But you work on the issue.
I am a conservative, but I am focused on the issues.
Yeah.
Because
That's what I meant by the bipartisan.
Exactly. So, because it's the issue that is the most important. And that is where the general public is interested in the issues. They don't know about the party nonsense and this kind of stuff.
And you're less likely to turn them off. If you just come out blazing red, you're going to turn them off. But
Exactly.
if you come out with the issue, you'll gain.
And that's where we really need to start. That is how you change the culture, is with the issues. And Charlie Kirk had it right, and he was very, very effective. That's why they got rid of him. And I don't know how many of you have social media accounts. How many of you posted "I am Charlie Kirk" after his assassination?
We were actually selling
Not those exact
Charlie
words,
Kirk Turning Point stuff at the fair until we got thrown out.
Well, how do you be more like Charlie Kirk? Because now we have committed ourselves to be Charlie Kirk now. So how do you do that? You follow his lead. He addressed the issues. He was changing the thought process of people. He was changing the culture. That's where you start. But they can't kill all of us. So yes, I am on Facebook and I'm on Twitter. Those are the places where I'm most active, is Facebook and Twitter. Where I use my Twitter mostly for national activism, and my Facebook is more for state
I just
activism.
found you on X yesterday, I think, or the day before, and I was like, oh,
I'm Cindi One Shorty.
yeah.
I had somebody message me one day and say, "Why do you call yourself Cindi One Shorty?" I said, "Because my name is Cindi and I'm the number one shorty." Why wouldn't I call myself that? So,
Anything else before we let her go?
all right. Well, thank you guys for coming and listening to all of my stuff. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate everything that you do. And I tell everybody all the time, I have people come up to me and they say, "I'd like to get involved and do some things, but I can only do this or I can only do that, and it's not a lot and it won't help." That is a total wrong way of thinking. Every little piece matters. It doesn't matter how little you think you're doing, it helps.
I appreciate all of you coming out this morning. Yes.
May I make a shameless plug for a friend of mine? Friday, there will be a lunch and learn sponsored by State Representative Jim DeSena. It's about the case against Jocelyn Benson. The keynote speaker will be James David Dixon, and it will be at the Little Brown Jug in Maumee, Michigan. It's a nice little intimate place, sort of like this, a little bit bigger though. It will be at 12 p.m. Friday, February 6th. 12 p.m. Friday, February 6th, Little Brown Jug. That is at 7697 Blue Bush Road, Maumee, Michigan. 7697 Blue Bush Road, Maumee, Michigan.
And Jim DeSena is one of the good ones.
Yes, he is.
All right. Okay, blue tickets out. Everybody's got a blue ticket.